Hello and welcome. Today we've got Mr. Charlie Ward. We're on our weekly briefings, guys. I hope everyone is doing really well. Don't forget to subscribe to our Telegram channels and also drcharlieward.com and nicholasveniamin.com as well. Now, Charlie says that he's got new news on the quantum financial system, and March is a very, very big month. Charlie, tell us, what is all this about?
Well, I've now, hi, Nick. Yeah, it is our weekly catch up. This morning, there's a bigger catch up than I ever dreamt of. I've now got in black and white all the details of the QFS, the quantum financial system, and how it works, how it operates, and the whole system. And I've got a lot of reading to do. So I can't comment just yet about everything about it, but I've now got it in black and white. And then this evening or over the weekend, I'm going to be speaking to the chairman of the quantum financial system to see what I can tell the public and what I can't tell the public, but they're going to use me as a mouthpiece to inform the public as to exactly what's going on with this new quantum financial system. But March is going to be March Madness or Mental March, whatever you want to call it. And April is going to be so much fun. You'll start to see things on a very positive level as we transition out of darkness into light, from the power of being enslaved by Satan into God's world. And this is not about religion. This is about spirituality. This is about faith. We're moving from a very, very controlled place. But I can assure you what I read this morning has blown my head off. It's so exciting. And not only is it very exciting, I was watching a friend of mine, Claire Hocking, who's done a fabulous video out there today, explaining to people as to how corrupt the British government has been in their dealings, whether it's Nick Hancock or Boris Johnson or whatever. Their days are coming. The British government's days are over. The way that they've behaved is despicable. They've abused their positions of power, and they have just basically, a hole was dug for them and they jumped straight in. So we're going to see an awful lot happen over the next couple of months, and those people who have done certain things that I would class as crimes against humanity will pay. And I shall be making sure they do pay, because they've made my life hell for many years, and they've made many other people's lives hell. But we're moving away from the corrupt, evil systems of Great Britain and the old United States of America and the European Union and the other countries around the world into a far better place. That includes Australia, New Zealand, Canada, South Africa, South America, and the Far East, the Middle East. There's a lot going on right now. Scandinavia. We're all moving away from this evil, corrupt stuff. But I can assure you, what I read this morning is incredibly exciting. And I will find out how much I can tell you tonight or over the weekend. They'll let me know once I've absorbed the information that they've sent me. But this is all the hard facts of how it works. And it's coming. There is no stopping it.
Right. So this is very exciting. I mean, so when you say that March and April is going to be a big month, are we just speaking here financially? Are we speaking here arrests? What other topics, what other categories or areas of QFS are we talking about here?
We're talking about the quantum financial system. We're talking about the global currency reset. We're talking about the revaluation. We're talking about arrests. We're talking about exposure. We're talking about moving away from darkness into light. We're talking about a spiritual. This is not to do with religion. I keep saying this. I want to get this point across because it's something that it weighs heavy on my soul, that we get wrapped up and try and put religion and spirituality together, and they're polar opposite. They're nothing to do with each other.
No, absolutely. I mean, we have to understand that there is a God, there is one God. We all worship that God, and that is a God of love. And the religions are just different stories to divide us that gets us to the same place. That is supposed to really get us to the same place. But what it really is, it's a distraction. And you and I know that. And even the listeners know that. And it's a cabal system, the religion. Yes, there are truths in, but ultimately it's, like you said, Charlie, it's a spiritual thing. It's about love and our souls and between good and evil. So what sort of things are you what did you read that you can tell us that might happen, that, or ambiguously tell us?
In very simple terms, without going into detail just yet, going away from a debt enslaved operating system, the SWIFT system, the fiat currency, moving away from that into a digital, predominantly digital currency, although there will still be notes and coins, but a far clearer, more honorable, more honest system, and taking the power away from what's evil and putting the power back into ourselves, making us a sovereign being again, and learning to be less programmed by television, mainstream media. The biggest shock of all will be that the mainstream media and the governments have all been corrupt, and they're all in bed together. And when you wake up to the level of corruption that's been involved in the government and the mainstream media, it'll blow your socks off. When you start to establish the truth, then you'll go through what I went through when I was 23 years old. The world will go through this, where you find out that what you've been told was not accurate. It's very easy to say it was a lie, but my parents were probably misled too. So I can't point the finger at them, but what I can say is I was misled in certain aspects, and we're going to find out that we have been misled. It's very, very easy to con people. Easy. Mm-hmm. Very, very hard to teach people that you've been conned, because we're dealing with pride. And when you can swallow your pride, and then you'll get down to the base. It's not a very nice place to be at the bottom. When you get to the bottom, then you find out you've got a basement. That's tough. But that's how we have to get to the base of our lives, and then we can start building. But when we start building without debt, without enslavement, and we're moving into an amazing place. We're moving into a wonderful place. I want to shout out to a lot of the people who've been on this journey with me that I have and haven't spoken to. There are many, many very, very good people out there. I mentioned Claire earlier. There's plenty of others out there. Simon Park, Simon Dolan. There's plenty of good people out there that are getting the message out there. And you need to wake up and start listening to these people. These aren't wackos, and nor is David Icke. David Icke was way ahead of his game. He's a bit like Freddie Laker. Way, way, way ahead of his game. And he's not a nut job at all. He's actually switched on and connected to what's really happening. And now we're seeing it. And I want to say a big shout out and a big thank you to David Icke, because him and his family have been standing up for the truth in the face of adversity for nearly 40 years. And I take my hat off to you, David, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you've inspired me that back over 40 years ago when I met you at Church Lytton on the Isle of Wight in Newport, watching Newport Isle of Wight play football, and when you were writing football reports in those days as a journalist, take my hat off to you. Much, much respect. And what a warrior that's continued to fight for that long. You know, I've been out there for a year doing it. He's been out there for 40 years doing it, and being the face of the truth movement, where conspiracy theorists are crazy, wacky. No, you're actually bang on the money, David. Thank you. And there's many others out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I like David. I mean, I watched the one on London Real when he was completely censored after it, went live. I think it was on I can't remember what it was, on BBC One or BBC Two. I can't remember what channel it was in the UK. It was a mainstream, one of the 5 mainstream channels it was on, with Brian Rose, and it was a fantastic interview. And I've been listening to David Icke for many, many years. But you know what, Charlie, I want to ask you, and I think a lot of people are confused, and I am too a little bit with about this. But why isn't David Icke so keen on Trump?
Very, very simple, because this is not about Trump. This is about God. God has used Trump, yes. But if you've been on this journey for 40 years, Trump wasn't even in the picture there. He's been on this journey for 36 years without Trump in it. So he knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. The fact that Trump's come along, as whoever came along to be God's warrior, was always going to go, well, I wasn't expecting him. I wasn't expecting her. I wasn't expecting this. I get it. I get it totally, And I respect David Icke immensely. And yeah, whoever came along was always going to be a shock after 40 years.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, 40 years, he's known that it needed doing. He was the last person he expected was Donald Trump. But he's the man with the biggest bollocks. Let's call it what it is. He's the man that looks younger after 4 years and the start of his 5th year already. He looks younger than he did when he started.
Yeah, what Trump did. Yeah, definitely. So do you think that David Icke has the same views as you with Donald Trump?
Probably not. But we don't look. I've said this a million times. My view of the Mediterranean is very much different to a diver. We can have different views of the same thing.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make either. The biggest problem we've got right now, Nick, is that if your view is not the same as mine, then I hate you and I won't even talk to you. In fact, I'll try and kill you. That's mental. That's not even common sense. You know, you can have two people see things from a different perspective and you can both be right.
Absolutely. And that is what we conservatives is about, because it's the
not
liberals.
To do with conservatives or Labour or left or right. It's to do with good and evil. Good people can listen to other people and make a judgment. Evil people can't listen to good people. We've got to drop the Conservative and Labour, Democrat and Republican, Sunni and Shia, Muslim and Christian. The Muslims and Christians are far closer than you'd ever imagine. It's only the people that have tried to do it, the governments who've tried to divide us. I've mixed with Muslims. I'm married to one. I've mixed with them for years, and they're great, great people. And then when you work out that ISIS and Al-Qaeda were actually CIA operatives run by McCain, John McCain.
Yeah.
Come on, wake up. This is, you know, the division was created by the CIA, not by the Muslims, not by Islamic. The Islamic terrorist was created by the CIA. Americans killing Americans. Politicians, nothing to do with the religion or faith. 99% of all of the Muslims I know, all of them are really good people, honorable people. There's some really wacky Christians out there. Look what happened in Waco, in Texas. I mean, it's nothing to do with the fact that we're Christians. He was just a nut job.
Yeah. It's between good and evil. Absolutely. No, you're
between
absolutely
good and
right.
evil.
And the thing is, when you're evil, and the people that are infiltrating evil, claiming that they're who they are, philanthropists, they're the ones that censor you when you have a different opinion. But the good is about respecting each other's opinions. And it's okay if we have disagreements, as long as we can respect each other, because that's what democracy is about. And that's what we stand for. Good.
You need to have positive in control. And what happened is you had negative evil in control. There will always be negativity and this out there, but what you want to be is on the side of good. If you're on the good side of good, then you feel happiness. And at the moment, I feel not just happiness, I feel mega excitement, because we're moving away from the control of evil. And the evil had controlled our governments, our banking system, our corporations, big pharma, big tech. All of these were controlled by evil. And their days are 100% over. And we're moving into a far better, beautiful world. And we've got a lot of things I can't tell you about, but I'm just desperate to tell you. I'm so desperate to tell you, you don't know how hard it is. As to what's going on right now, it's so exciting.
Right. So what's the news about, about Donald Trump? Is he going to resurface? This is the big thing we've been waiting for.
He's already resurfaced. He's playing golf in Florida.
Yeah.
Although this week he was actually in Switzerland. He flew into Zurich on Air Force One. Oh, what was he doing on Air Force One?
Yeah.
And then he came in by helicopter into Bern.
Basically, he's the president, and undercover in a safe way, just in case there's any threats.
Basically, the military are in control in America, and they decide who goes on Air Force One. They also decide who's in the White House and in the Pentagon. And it's interesting the Pentagon are still briefing Trump, but not briefing Biden. That's interesting. It's interesting that he hasn't yet moved. Biden's never been inside the White House. He's been inside Castle Rock Studios. And it's interesting that he's not been allowed to have the military briefings, and he's not been allowed to have the nuclear code. So
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. You tell me, Nick.
Well, of course, he is the president. Biden's not in control, definitely. So, what was your favorite part of the CPAC speech that he made? What was it that you liked?
My favorite bit?
Yeah.
Biden was shot in December.
He took the shot on the 21st. I mean, I said that was a code straight. As soon as he said that, I knew it was a code straight away when he was talking about the military and we've taken care of the people. And, Biden took his shot on the 21st of, on the 21st of December. We've taken care of him or something like that.
And also, if you just for those people who follow you and me know this, the word vaccination is a code word for revaluation, RV. The minute you replace the word vaccination with RV, you get a feeling of warmth inside of you. Watch that speech again. Every time it says vaccination, put in revaluation, and then you'll get it.
Right. So it's a code word. Right. Okay.
Yes, it is.
So how do we know it's a code word? Where did you get that verified from?
This is a military operation. We're in the Third World War. He's not going to tell the enemy what he's doing.
Absolutely.
It's up for the decoders to tell us. And we've got plenty of good. We've got Jason, who's a brilliant decoder. We've got Daniel, who's a brilliant decoder. We've got Gene, who's a brilliant decoder. We've got many, many great decoders who can work out everything that's going on. And everything that they say makes sense.
Absolutely. So, Charlie, it's been wonderful catching up with you.
Always.
Is there anything you want to say before we leave to the listeners?
You have nothing to worry about. Everything is going to be fine. We're going to have a mad March. Great fun to watch. April's going to be very, very entertaining.
So when you get to read more of this quantum financial system, the paperwork, maybe we could do another sort of 10, 15-minute video where we can go into it a bit more. Would you like that?
They've actually nominated me as the person to notify the public about the new QFS system, the detail of it. I've now got all the documentation. I'm going to read up on it, and then they're going to tell me what I can and can't say, because there's some mind-blowing stuff in there.
Right.
That was way outside of the parameters of what I expected.
Wow. Okay. So shall we do this video again?
Of course. Mandatory.
All right, then. Well, listen, Charlie, you let me know, keep me posted, and we'll jump back on 10, 15 minutes and we'll let the listeners know what you can say and what you can't say.
As soon as I know, you'll be the first to know.
All right, then. Thank you, Charlie. God bless.
Good.
Bye.